Okay, I'm going to walk you through how we built this from scratch. Okay? So in order to do that, we're going to start from scratch. Now, I am going to make a write-up and a blueprint, which is a download of this, all this in JSON. I'm going to export it right now to my desktop. And this blueprint can be imported into any Integromat scenario, and you can start from scratch. But in case you want to do it on your own, I'm going to walk you through from bare iron how we're going to build a webhook, Google Sheets, a router for either situation, and I'll also walk you through how we put together the JSON to push back into Voiceflow. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to scenarios, and we're going to create a new scenario. And we are going to, this is the great thing about this, we know we want to use Webhook, and we know we want to use Google Sheets, and that's pretty much it. We'll pull everything else. So the way Integromat, it needs to be triggered by something. And the best way that we have found in working with Voiceflow is to trigger it via a webhook. So we are going to make a instant webhook, and we're going to create a webhook that is something that the API, we're going to create a webhook that the API block can reach out to in Voiceflow. So we're going to create one. We're going to call it Voiceflow training, and we're going to save it. And so that's going to copy the address to the clipboard, right? We're going to copy that, and that's going to copy the address to the clipboard. So we're going to go into Voiceflow, and I'm just going to show you how it works in this framework. We're going to create a new skill, and we're going to call it just simple API, because we're going to go start block. We're going to make it speak something. I'm going to just for the sake of looking nice and clean, make it speak something, and then we're going to capture after the speak. It's going to be listening, and it's going to capture. It's going to go into the API block. And that's going to give us an output. I'm just going to do an example. I'm not going to replicate the whole thing. I just want to walk you through at least the basic structure of it. And then we're going to make it speak something. And we're going to make it speak something. And we're going to give it an if statement. Okay? You're going to watch me troubleshoot all this other stuff because live demonstrations are always my favorite. All right, so if it works out to the positive one way, if it doesn't work out, it's going to go here. It's going to speak to that. The API is going to here. I'm not going to deal with the capture right now. So this is what we have. This is what we're going to try to build to using the API using Integromat. Start block, we're going to say hello. Ask me to workout by name. This is rough test, and it's going to add care. It's going to look for a variable. So we don't have a variable. So we're going to make a variable called. We're going to make a local variable called workout. And we're going to make another one called respond, found workout. All right, I'm just going to do something really simple. All right. Okay, so we have workout, found workout. Okay. Those are our local variables. We have blocks. So speak, ask me about a workout. And the variable name we're gonna pick is workout. And it's like, ooh, didn't find the workout. I always get this backwards, so did not. Okay. And this one is the work, the name. Okay, let's get that. Very helpful. Name of the workout is, and we hit the bracket once, found workout. And because it's kind of interesting, crossfit-y type of thing, that's something people are used to, I'm going to put it in quotes. Right? That's that. So, and if we're going to pick if the value variable found workout, if found workout equals, what should we call it, unknown, it's going to be evaluate. If it's unknown, I'm going to say go down here. No, I'm not. See how I never got a reverse. I'll copy this, go here. Okay, you can't copy that. I didn't realize it. Found workout, right? Found workout. Okay. Oh. Okay, if it's unknown, the first one, cannot find out. If it is known, it's going to go that way. All right? But we've saved that. We've gone back here. Let's close this out. Now we have to go to this API. So it's going to be a post API because we're going to push out the request that we're going to capture here. We're going to post it, and the endpoint is from Integromat. So we copy this address to the clipboard. We're going to copy that there. And the header is going to be because remember, we're asking to capture workout. So for the body, we're going to make the value called workout, the parameter called workout, or the variable we're going to use called workout, and we're going to call it workout. Okay. Okay. And so we're going to send across workout. Now we need to go and test this. We need to test it not for the sake of Voiceflow. We need to test it so that it effectively brings it over into Integromat because it's waiting for this. So let me stop. If I were to do this to redetermine the data structure, it's going to send it off. So what I want to do here is go test it here. Let's go actually to the API. Let's see if we can start from that block. All right. And let's go here to determine if it's green, that means it successfully determined the data. So that means it's successfully sent to this particular webhook here, right? So now that we know that, we're going to go to our Google Sheet and we're going to select a row from an existing Google Sheet. All right? So we're calling ours the CrossFit Girls. Remember, we're looking for this benchmark column. We're going to ask for a name. This is going to be the name of the workout, the benchmark. And we're going to see what it's going to be called workout. The workout's going to match up to the column called benchmark. All right. So we're going to do CrossFit Girls. All right. We only have sheet 1. Let's validate that we're looking at sheet 1. Great. And then here's where you understand how Google Sheets is configured from a perspective of what its columns are really called. You may put spaces or other things in them, but Google Sheets is going to translate them, and you have to build the query against your Google Sheet based upon how Google Sheets looks at the column. So we're looking at benchmark, but if I have something like scoring standard, see how it takes out the underscore and puts that there? So we're looking at benchmark. So we're going to look for a benchmark. So we're going to say, we're going to filter for benchmark equals, and I always put this in quotes just because you never know if there's some odd thing that's going to come across. So benchmark equals workout. So what that's going to mean is that Integromat is going to look down my Google Sheet in that particular column. It's going to look for the workout I asked for, and it's going to return all the values from that row. So if I ask for the description of the workout. So I'm going to actually ask for the description in my case. All right. I'm going to go change it in Voiceflow, but we're going to ask for the description. We may actually ask for, we'll ask for all of this, right? The benchmark, the rounds, reps, time, description, scoring standard. We'll ask for all that, all right? Because we're feeling crazy. All right, so we know that, let's close this. We know that we picked the right thing here. So let me zoom out a little bit here, not that side. But now we know that if somebody picks something that is not a workout in the database, it's going to fail. And instead of it failing horribly with returning something like undefined, we want it to return with something that makes sense in plain English because we're talking about conversational design. So one of the things I use in Integromat is give me this sort of like alternate flow is this. It allows me to do different things. Now, one of the things about having to write back to, having to write back to anything that calls a webhook is that there's automatically going to be a webhook response when a webhook call. Sometimes a webhook response is just status OK, we sent it out. And you could use that if you're just storing variables in a spreadsheet over time and you don't want an immediate response. But to get a response that we want to use in the conversation, we're actually going to co-opt this whole webhook response, and we're going to actually put our variables, new variables, inside the webhook response, send it back so it can be spoken back to the user by Alexa. Okay? So in order to do that, we are going to use just some simple JSON. But we're going to speak back, and I'm going to call it 202 because, so it has to open up, and then we're going to call our found, what do we call it? We call our variables found workout. We're going to add description. We're going to have standard. And we're going to have rounds, reps. Okay? Remember, those are the workout, description, standard, founds, and rounds. We're going to do the found workout, and those just correspond to rounds and reps, description, and scoring standard. All right? So we are going there. Sorry about the bizarre nature of it all. So now, with these variables in hand, let's take a look at them now. Workout, found workout, description, standard, and rounds, reps. We're going to go into Integromat, and we're going to do found workout. I'm just going to get these out for my notes. We're going to put description, standard, rounds, reps. Do I get that right? Right. Gotcha. I'm going to close that. JSON found workout equals the benchmark. Description equals description. Standard equals scoring standard. Round reps equals rounds and reps. Because it's JSON, we're going to, unless they're actual values, we have to wrap them in quotes. because they're not one ginormous variable. Put a comma here, comma here, comma here. So we make sure that's not anything extra. So it's going to wrap and send back. Found workout is going to be that. Description is going to be that. Standard is going to be that. And rounds rep is going to be that. This is our webhook response. Remember that, okay? And to make sure that we always have our JSON right, I always just my JSON in the JSON blob. So I just pull that out. Right? Oh, so what is wrong here? Let me just get rid of these variables because sometimes I can just put Ralph. I always do this just to make sure if I'm missing anything. Okay. Ah. Okay, we'll see what that's saying. Ah. I don't know why I do this each time, but yeah, that's really what you want to do. Okay, now we have incredible JSON, right? So apologies for all of you people who are just having a heart attack when I looked at it, but this is what we want. So we're going to go take this great JSON. For those of you who are non-programmers, go paste this back in here. I'm going to replace Ralph with benchmark. Replace this Ralph with the description. We're going to place this Ralph with the standard, and we're going to place this Ralph with the rounds and reps. All right, so we're solid here. And then, just because I am lazy, I clone this. I go in here, and since I'm only going to have one of these, I'm trying to create the situation in which I only bring back the one. And I just want to say it's empty. It's unknown. Remember, we mentioned that in our if statement earlier. Unknown. And so that's unknown here. So that means if it goes into here and it doesn't find anything, we want it to go down here. And how do we do that? We set a filter. This is what you see. Set up a filter. And unknown. So condition is, really is, if it can't find it in a row, and in Google Sheets, if it doesn't exist, it doesn't have a row ID. Row ID does not exist. Boom. And here, set up a row ID and a known. If the row ID exists. You can see here that I could make it equal to an exact value if I really wanted to get down there. But if it exists, it's good enough for me because it's pretty much either it exists or it doesn't. But the last thing that I want to make sure everyone does, because it's always bitten me, is to go into this Google Sheets select statement, trick of the trade, make sure continue the execution even if the module returns no results. Because I've actually created an unknown for no results here. So the last thing you want to do is die here and not finish so you don't have an effective response back in your Alexa response or anything else. So we've created that so it can continue down this path and give us the appropriate response. And if it's known, it can give us that response. Once we do that, we save what we have, we turn it on, and it fires immediately. We have the timing, but it's going to fire immediately and hit activate. All right, and so we're going to go training to Voiceflow. Save that. Okay, I'm going to make it bring back only one at a time. Hit OK. And the reason why I want to explain to you how it happens, this is what's going to happen. It's going to come here, and boom, based upon what results, it could go here or there. And that's exactly how it's going to work in the grand scheme of things.